We have a saying in science: extraordinary claims require extraordinary proof. So I am now going to make a wild, way out, extraordinary claim. The world is round. For curvature of the Earth horizon model of science. Watch as ships sail away.
They don't disappear all at once.
No, first, the bottom will disappear. See, the bottom of the ship is gone. Now we can see midway up, and then the whole thing disappears. Now, ships came back. They didn't fall off a table. So people realized that the world is curved. I mean, it's a big curve, but it's curved. So, the process of testing claims, the world is flat, the world is round, is what we call science. Now, if you have a claim that can't be tested, that's what we call pseudoscience. The difference between pseudoscience and regular science is whether or not you can test it. The flat Earth, well, that didn't stand up to tests. The round Earth did. Extraordinary claims require extraordinary proof. The world is round.
So Bill Nye and many other people believe that when a boat or ship goes out of sight, it has disappeared over the curvature of the Earth. Take a look at this piece of land where the arrow is pointing at. You will see the land seemingly disappear as the conditions of the atmosphere change throughout the day. This is an optical illusion. The water mirages on itself. The atmosphere is acting like a magnifying lens. Look at this man. You can't see the bottom of his legs because they're behind the curvature of the Earth. Is that right, or are we just seeing a mirage effect? Now let's zoom in on a boat that at the moment we can't see. Using a zoom camera, the boat is brought back into view. Oh, it's a bit rough out there. The technology we now use has caught up with their lies. As you can see, the hull of the boat is slightly hidden, but as we now know, it's not because of any Earth curve. And to prove this without a doubt, as I zoom out, you can see a clump of trees which are located the other side of the estuary, around 12 miles away beyond the boat. If the boat was disappearing over the curvature of the Earth, then the trees further away would not be visible. Boats or ships that disappear from view is not proof that they are disappearing over the curvature of the Earth.
The process of testing claims, the world is flat, the world is round, is what we call science.
I set my camera up about here on the running track, and my camera looked like this. This is what I had, a little roll of paper. Now the lens, as you can see, is very close to the surface, half an inch, and we're looking down a running track, 100 meters minimum, all right? So the camera is set up here, and the direction of travel of our people is this way. By the time people start to get down here, the shoes start going away entirely. So we're going to mostly observe this lady's shoe. The bottom of her shoe we'll call the hull of the ship, and then the top part, the grey part on the top of her shoe, could be the mast and the sails. This lens, obviously, in full-scale life, there's nothing as tall as these human beings, but when we consider the shoe to be a boat, that makes sense. I'm also going to point out what happens when people run around the running track on the bottom. The first thing you'll notice is they get covered up as far as almost their waist, and then by the time they get around here, they're almost concealed right up to their shoulders. And that's not just because of perspective, that's actually because of the grass. This grass is very well cut at the moment that I filmed this, but it's still taller than the plane of the running track, and it is adding a lot to obscuring the people as they run around the bottom of the track. When people first start to run around behind the grass, which begins about here, you can see that it almost looks like they're heading downhill because they're up to their waist around this position and then almost up to their shoulders by the time they're here. Now that's a lot of obfuscation over a flat surface. Zero curvature. Let's take a look. Boat is sailing away. Still see the white hull? can still see the grey mast, and as you can see over here, people are up to their shoulders behind the grass. Look, waist high and getting up to their shoulders. That is more to do with the grass than perspective, but perspective is still a big part of it. Okay, let's pause her for a second now. We're just barely able to see the white. I'm not going to zoom in on this. We'll take a look at a few stills in a moment. Again, almost up to their waist at this point, but as she walks around, her shoes are now starting to go away. Just keep looking for those white flashes as she takes her steps. Still see it, but you're not seeing the very bottom of her shoes at this stage. You're just barely seeing some white. And eventually, her shoes will be completely obscured, even when she lifts them up to walk, as you can see with these guys as they run behind the grass at the end of the track. So her shoes are now gone, except for when she lifts her feet. Remarkable. There you go. All right, here we are inside the photo editor. I'm just going to click through these images. I've zoomed in quite a bit. That's why the image resolution is a little pixelated, but we'll be able to determine if we're seeing her shoe or not with more clarity here. So I've just taken a series of screenshots from the video, and I'll just click through it. So there's the first shot of her shoe. And again, we're watching this shoe here. We'll also keep an eye on these runners as they run around the bottom end of the track. And just to remind you, this is the grass. It's a tightly cut football field, but nonetheless, that grass is going to contribute quite significantly to blocking out the lower part of this image. And there's the next shot. So you can already see, if we look over here, this runner is up to his waist, concealed a lot by the grass. This guy too. Clicking on. Still see her shoe. You can still see her shoe. Again, we're still seeing the white shoe at the bottom of her leg there. Okay, two shoes, just barely, but quite a bit concealed. I think we're pretty much losing that shoe now. Legs only, except for the back of that shoe that's lifted. And you can definitely see that the bottom part of her legs, also known as her feet, are fully obscured by the angular resolution failing to resolve. Now she goes around here, she's starting to get close to the grass. We're almost knee-high in concealment, and basically getting close to her waist here as she goes behind the grass. For the final shot, right up to her waist. So no doubt about it, this is ground-up obstruction due to angular resolution issues.